That's one major disadvantage with Amazon. Amazon's customer is Amazon's customer. You don't even know your buyer's name and you never know their addresses. You have no way to contact them. The only way you can potentially get build your own list to Amazon is to include an insert card in your product like
Ooh, good
packaging.
idea.
And inside the insert card, usually the strategy I suggest is to like either do some kind of free printable or free resources, or for my own brand, I actually have a free product funnel, so they can scan a QR code, they fill out a quick form, and we send them another free toys for free. But that's is how we capture their information as well, because if we don't ask them to do that, there's no way of me knowing any information about my customer. So the way we do it is we have a loss leader toys that
Yep.
manufacture really like the cost is really affordable, that allow us to do this kind of marketing that we can give away for free and even free shipping as well. So it's totally free for the consumer. All they need is to fill out a form with their first name, last names, emails, phone numbers, and addresses, so we can remarket to them later on.
Hi, and welcome to the 91 Day Success Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Mast, and I am thrilled to have Jason with me today. Jason and I have had the opportunity to meet through a coaching group that we're part of. And while I meet a lot of great agencies, I'm really excited to introduce you to Jason today because Jason has one of the coolest niches that I've ever dealt with before. And I want to have him share a little bit about how he helps and who he helps and what he does. So, Jason, welcome to the 91 Day Success Podcast. I'm thrilled to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about the niche that you are focused on and how you serve your clients?
Of course. Again, my name is Jason Hsieh. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. I'm a toy entrepreneur. So everything I do is related to toys. I own two different businesses and one foundation. First of all, I also run an in-house toy design firm with design toys for kids with special needs, sensory toys, fidget toys, and weighted toys. I started that particular toy design company back in 2017 because my oldest son, his name's Keanu, he's turning 14 this year. He is on the autism spectrum and he also has ADHD. To make the long story short, in 2013, me and my wife used to live in Tokyo, Japan. I'm from Taiwan myself. My wife is from Japan. I do speak Chinese and Japanese fluently. I'm trilingual myself. So I still have a little bit of Asian accent. I'm still working on my Asian accent. But the thing with Japan, just like all the other Asian country, there is a huge taboo around disabilities. And back in 2013, when we live in Tokyo, one of the largest metropolitan area in the world, but we can only find two therapy centers to take our son to in the entire Tokyo metropolitan area, which is a very frustrating situation for me and my wife. And since our son is the first kid, we have three kids now, 14, 10, and 6. But back then, our son was our firstborn, and it was very frustrating to face that. And so we decided to move to United States back in 2015. We used to live in Seattle, Washington, but it was too much rain. So we moved to Phoenix instead. Too much sun, which I like. I like. However, after we moved to the state, we encountered a different issue. Medical insurance in the United States suck really bad, as everyone know. It doesn't pay for the medical therapy we needed for our son. And we're talking about occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapies, applied behavior analysis therapy. Most of them is $100 an hour therapy. And if you add everything up, it requires about 15 hours a week of therapy for my son back then. And it's $100 an hour at 15 hours. That's $6,000 a month just on medical expense. No middle class income family can afford that kind of medical expense. Neither do I, even so I work in a big corporate finance job and have a low six figure income as a career, but it was still not enough to support my family. That's why I started dabbling in e-commerce in 2016. And I was buying stuff low. I was going to garage sales. I was going to Goodwill's, Value Village, which is another big chain. And I would buy stuff like I would buy textbook at $2-3 and flip them on eBay and Amazon for $50, for $100. But I was just a hustler. I would scan all the books for hours on the weekends and really trying to get my initial capital for the business. And for my first year, I did fairly well for a side hustle. I think I generated about $50,000 in revenue for my first year, just hustling like crazy. And then in 2017, I decided to start my own toys brand, which is called Lucky Kid, which we design sensory toys, like I shared earlier. And fast forward to today's, about 2.5 years ago, I started the agency to help other toys brand like myself with digital marketing, and hence the creation of Toy Launch. And right now, we currently manage about 15 different toys brand for digital marketing. Majority of our services is focusing on Amazon marketing. So Amazon launches, pretty much. We launch toys on Amazon using SEO, using PPC, using listing optimization. And we also have our own ambassador program of moms that we work with to promote the product, to create user-generated content for our client or even for our own brand. And so those are the two businesses I run. And I also started a foundation earlier this year called Sensory Inclusive Classroom Foundation. The mission of our foundation is to donate sensory toys to low-income school districts that couldn't afford to buy the toys that will be beneficial for kids on the spectrum or with sensory needs, like my son. And one of the core mission for the foundation is also provide education to the educator, because you'll be surprised how little education the educator actually get about kids with special needs. The teachers get thrown into the fire and figure themselves out. So I really want to provide more trainings and really give teacher more resources on how can they best serve the kids with sensory needs. I would say that's a big passion of mine, and every single thing I do, the businesses and the foundation, is all involved with one single goal. I want to empower, support, and educate kids with learning differences so they can live a life full of possibility. Doesn't matter where they live on earth. So that's my
Mm.
long-term life mission with all the businesses that I run. So
Oh, I love that. And I really love the story and how you got involved in it and taking action and dealing with it. It's so many people, I think, Jason, they run into the same issues that you described, but they throw up their hands and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do about it. And I love how you just then said, okay, then I'm going to fix it and I'm going to do something about it. And you really dug in. And I think it's so interesting that you're dealing with it on so many different sides of the issue, both helping educators understand, making sure that those institutions have the right tools and resources, and then helping manufacturers and brands build their brands and launch so that they can be successful serving this very needed niche. Speaking as a guy who got diagnosed with ADD at 43, I know I wish I would have had some more resources growing up myself. So I certainly can appreciate what you're doing. Talk to us a little bit, Jason, about Toy Launch. You mentioned how you're helping businesses launch on Amazon, and that's an area I think a lot of our listeners are curious about. They buy a lot on Amazon, but they may not be as familiar with that. Can you tell us a little bit about that process, what that looks like, and how do you help a toy brand do that launch? What's that look like?
of course, first of all, Amazon now is the largest search engine for anything that you try to buy online, especially in US. And I would say, I think I was looking at the stats, over 50% of all online searches when it comes to physical product start in Amazon, not Google.
Wow.
Amazon, they are searching for physical product. So Amazon is the biggest, player in the room. So for any kind of toy manufacturing or toy brand that's not on Amazon, they lose 50% of their traffic instantly. And second of all, one thing I always talk to my client when they are considering selling on Amazon is, even if you are in the retail store and you don't want to sell on Amazon, guess what? When people go to the retail store, the first thing they do is to find your product on Amazon, look at the reviews before they buy. You will be surprised
So
at how
true. Yeah.
often people does that. So if you're not on Amazon and control your own presence, someone else will just take a random picture and throw your product out there, and now you look bad in front of your customer, because that Amazon product listing, the whole experience is not controlled. It's a random image with no videos, bad reviews, nothing is controlled, nothing is regulated. So this is where we come in and go in and help the brand owner to reestablish the control over their own Amazon listing. And you'll be surprised how messy of that situation could be, because Amazon is not an easy marketplace to navigate. And what we do as a company is to help our brand partners to bring their product onto Amazon correctly. And also Amazon, when we do product launches, the first 30 days is critical. It's often referred to as a honeymoon period, which is the first 30 days, Amazon will give you a benefit of doubt. Even so, your brand new product, Amazon will still rank you for some of the keyword to test you out, to see if how much is your product can make Amazon richer. They already have a lot of money, but that's their goal. How much more money can you make Amazon? So the first 30 days, you can prove to Amazon by doing the listing optimization, by doing the advertising, and also drive a lot of external traffic all into the listing. We have many different strategy we deploy within the first 30 days, try to make that happen. So the goal is we'll identify 5 to 10 main keywords that's highly relevant, that have medium search volume on Amazon, and try to rank within position 1 to 10. And that is where the goal, like the gold mine is in Amazon. As everyone know, in digital marketing, the best place to hire a dead body is where? The second page of the search result.
Exactly.
So if you're beyond the position like 10, usually it's pretty hard to find you. So that's what we do, is to help them to establish rank and also make their listing. And that's 2 key number. If you are brand new to Amazon, you need to consider, or you need to know about. First is Amazon conversion rate. The industry benchmark is 10%.
Wow.
Industry benchmark for Shopify conversion is only 2%. So it's 5x of a typical store. Because you know why? Because Amazon have the trust. You can return the product in any way you want within the first 30 days. You can get the product within a few hours if you live in a major metropolitan area, and all your credit cards on file, and you can buy anything with one click of button. So that is why the conversion rate is so high, and that's such an opportunity for the brands that's not on Amazon yet to really consider getting onto Amazon. The second stat I would like to share is, if you want to sell on Amazon, you need to consider your contribution margin. Usually, my suggestion is 25%. And this is how you calculate this. Your Amazon selling price minus all Amazon fee. Amazon have a lot of fee. Amazon has Amazon referral fee, Amazon FBA fee, Amazon inbound fee, Amazon storage fee, even Amazon long-term storage fee. And there's also a low inventory placement fee. That's quite a bit of fee. But after all the fee and after your cost of goods sold, your contribution margin, or people call it profit margin, should be 25% or higher. If it's lower than that, I actually turn the brand away. It's like, you don't have enough margin to be successful on Amazon. Go talk to your supplier, go talk to your manufacturer, your supply chain, to lower your cost first, then we'll talk again in a couple months. Because if you don't have that margin, Amazon is a pay-to-play platform. You have to run ads. If you don't run ads, after 30 days, no one will ever find you again, and your brand's dead. So that's why those 2 numbers, I'll say, is really important for people to know if they are considering or about to get into selling on Amazon.
One of the things I love so much about this, Jason, is as you explain this, is very obvious. The Amazon platform, you get it, you understand that. And in addition to helping with marketing, you're obviously able to help them with a strategy to help them go to market, to launch, and to do so effectively. Even something as simple as understanding it is a pay-to-play marketplace. It's not just a matter of putting it up that you're going to have to pay to play, is a really important thing to understand. But again, man, you mentioned the close ratios, the fact that they've got 5 times the conversion that a Shopify store does. It's just absolutely amazing. The other thing that I thought was so brilliant, you're right, I've done that. I don't know how many times I'm in a store, I'm looking at a product, I'm not familiar with that product, and I'm like, I wonder if it's any good. And so I'll go to Amazon and I'll look it up to see what are the reviews. I may not be, I may have no desire to buy it on Amazon. I want to buy it right then and there in the store, but I want the reviews, and I trust Amazon user reviews. So I know if I go look at it and it's a 4 or better, it's probably a pretty good product. But if it's a 2.5, never mind, I'm not going to pick it up. I'll go look for another product. So I never thought of that from an Amazon listing perspective, but I can see how critical that would be. That's brilliant. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Outside of Amazon, I know that's really your focus, but outside of Amazon in these specialty tools, is there a way for these toy makers to create a list and pull things off Amazon over time? In other words, and I know this may be a dumb question, but I literally don't know from an Amazon perspective, can we use it like a top of funnel tool that bring people into our ecosystem, and once we have them, can we add them to our list and market directly, or are we always taught that, or are we always stuck with Amazon?
Unfortunately, that's a one major disadvantage with Amazon. Amazon's customer is Amazon's customer.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't
Fair
even
enough.
know their names. You don't even know your buyer's name, and you never know their addresses. You have no way to contact them. The only way you can potentially get a build your own list to Amazon is to include an insert card in your product like
Ooh, good
packaging.
idea.
And inside the insert card, usually the strategy I suggest is to like either do some kind of free printable or free resources, or for my own brand, I actually have a free plus a free product funnel, so they can scan a QR code, they fill out a quick form, and we send them another free toys for free. But that's is how we capture their information as well, because if we don't ask them to do that, there's no way of me knowing any information about my customer. So the way we do it is we have a loss leader toys that is
Yep.
manufactured really like the cost is really affordable, that allow us to do this kind of marketing that we can give away for free and even free shipping as well. So it's totally free for the consumer. All they need is to fill out a form with their first name, last names, emails, phone numbers, and addresses, so we can remarket to them later on. So that's the only way that you can do that. So,
Well, but again, now there is a strategy and there's a way to work around it. It reminds me of one of my favorite brands. So I buy a lot of Anchor products, Anker. I just like them. They're really good quality.
yeah, I have it in
And
my room right now. Yes.
yes, you can relate. And I buy a lot of them on Amazon, but I also buy some of them direct because they offered me when I started buying their products warranty extensions, free accessories, different things like that if I registered. And of course, happy to do that
Yeah.
to save some money, no
Yes.
problem. And now I get their emails and everything else. What's interesting to me is that sometimes they actually direct me to their Amazon store and sometimes they direct me to their other store. From a
Yes.
strategy perspective, I'm not saying you necessarily know Anchor's idea, but what would be the strategy as someone who's selling on Amazon to occasionally push people to your Amazon store as opposed to your offline store or your non Amazon store? What's the strategy behind that?
It all depends on the Amazon product cycle. If it's doing a new
Okay.
product launch cycle, you want to drive everything you can into Amazon. After I would say after beyond month 2 or 3, then you don't have to drive traffic to Amazon anymore. It is if you do everything right correctly during the launch period, which is the first 30 days,
Yep.
then you can just sustain the ranks through PPC and other form of advertising. And if you need to re-rank, that's another good timing to drive more traffic into Amazon. And we have a whole like re-ranking strategy, which is
Oh,
different
wow.
than launching strategy. Usually launching in 30 days, re-ranking is about 10 days. So
Okay. Okay. So, obvious question comes up, Jason. Obviously, you specialize in working with toy companies. If we've got someone listening and they're maybe in a different marketplace, but they want to get on Amazon, do you work with anybody that's not in the toy industry to help them? Obviously, you've got an immense amount of knowledge about Amazon.
currently, we don't. Unfortunately, I can share some knowledge, but because this is intentional, because I tried to be a generic agency when I first started. I just don't like doing that. I just enjoy
Makes sense.
toys so much. I'm really passionate about the toy industry, and I love to talk to toy entrepreneur. That I just want to do something I love. So if you're not in the toy business, I can give you a referral. As I know a lot of other Amazon agency friends that they also do
That's
amazing
cool.
work, but I can refer to them. But toys is where my passion is, and I want to stay within my zone of genius, so to speak.
Well, I commend you on that because, like you, I started many years ago with a generalist agency. And while we did really well in that agency, it was a lot more tumultuous, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
So every client was different and every client had different needs. And I loved serving them, but it wasn't always fun. It
yeah,
wasn't always enjoyable and it
yeah,
caused a lot more stress. When we
yeah.
decided to niche, then life got a lot more fun for me as an agency owner because of the fact that I could now specialize. And I love that your area of genius. You get to focus on that. And that
Mm.
means you're actually providing even a higher level of value for those clients in your niche because you really do know that not only just Amazon,
The
specifically from
industry,
a
yeah,
toy launch perspective, how
yeah.
to do that and how to maximize that. So kudos to you for sticking to your guns there. I know that's a hard question when somebody goes, "Hey, could you do this?" But I demonstrates the maturity that you've got in the industry and in your what you're doing to be able to say, "No, that's really where we focus on and what our focus is there."
Yeah,
So,
and besides toy, we also do board games as well. We have a few board game
oh,
clients
cool.
currently. So toys, board games, those are consider in the very similar niche, and we do both.
Say, and very related from my mind. If I'm looking
Yes.
at that, very closely related, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh,
Actually, I'm working on a new board game to launch right now, and designing, at least working on designing a board game for kids with special needs, actually. So,
oh, cool. Very
yeah.
cool. Very cool. What do you see for the future of both special needs products, toys, board games, things like that? What do you see happening in the future as far as that and getting more assistance for both individuals and children that are in those areas?
Yeah, but one thing I want to clarify is, even so
Please.
my own brand specialize in special needs toys, but for my agency, it doesn't have to be special need toys.
Any toy is okay.
We work
Okay.
with any kind of toys and any kind of board games. But going back to your question about the special needs, is I really want to bring more awareness. This is even in United States we have a higher level awareness, but in Asia that's where the awareness is really lacking. And that's what it forced me and my wife to move out of Japan, even so we both love the country. And I would love to go back after my kids go to college. But because of the lack of awareness, the resources, and the therapy, my long-term vision is to really bring more awareness, bring some of our product back to Amazon Japan, and really spread the awareness, and also encourage creating more resources. And I'm also involved in another nonprofit called, shout out to 21st Century Foundation. They are a wonderful nonprofit. They have a specialized program called Special Father Network, which they connect with other special needs dad like myself.
Mm,
So they also have a mastermind. Every single week, I meet with the group of dad that all have kids with special needs, autism, Down syndrome, Fragile X syndrome, all kind of different special needs. And we just go in and share about our personal struggle and encourage each other. And we also read different books, different topics. And I feel like I was involved in that nonprofit organization for almost over 2 years now. And this kind of 90% of all the resources and the support for special needs is designed for moms. That is
mm.
almost like a forgotten group of people.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
100%.
It's a
100%.
And
Well, that
just like entrepreneurship, you can get very lonely. Same as special need parenting is also very lonely, because when you share with your friends and family, they have no idea what you're going through. They don't understand the stress. They don't understand the therapy. They don't understand the day-to-day struggle. Just like entrepreneurship, when you share that with your friends, like, they don't understand. They are now business owner. They don't have employee. They don't need to work with a client that doesn't pay, and all these issues. So that's why I really enjoy being in part of that mastermind, and also the digital marketing mastermind, which is a whole different topic. But I think just being involved with like-minded individual really help. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. So,
that makes so much sense. I love that. I love that across the board. Jason, the name of our podcast is the 91 Day Success Podcast. And since you're in the launches, I'm really curious how you might answer this question. I love to ask people, if you were advising someone who was going to be starting a new venture, or maybe you yourself were going to do that, and you had 91 days to build that business up to the goal of getting to $10,000 in revenue. We do add one caveat though, and that's it. You only have $1,000 to put into the business. You can use revenue that's generated, but you've only got $1,000. What would you do, Jason, or what would you advise people do in that first 3 months, that first 91 days, in order to launch a new business successfully?
I would do what I did back in 2016 again. I'm a hustler myself, and back then when I started, I only have a few hours on the weekend because I still have a full-time job and the wife and the kids at home. So what I did is I go to Goodwill. I have a barcode scanner machine attached to my phone. I go in, I look for books that I can buy really cheap, like $1 or $2, and sell it for 10 times higher or more. Especially a lot of the very niche non-fiction books, and even some textbook, like college textbook. You just need to scan a lot of them. I would say if you scan 100, you'll maybe find 5 that is worth any money, and then rinse and repeat. With $1,000, you can buy like a couple hundred books, and you can 10x your investment. So if you invest in $10,000 worth of inventory in used textbooks, you can technically, you'll make more than $10,000 within 3 months. But it's about hustling, especially when you don't have the money. Then you need to spend the time, because I talk to a lot of want to be entrepreneur. Is, oh, I want to be an
Yes.
entrepreneur, but they don't do the freaking work. You need to go
Yes.
out and do
Yes.
the work. If you don't have the money, do the freaking work. Do the dirty work, and just don't be afraid of getting your hand dirty, and just get started. And it's a wonderful learning experience to learn about how to sell online. That's how I learned too. It's not just hustling and buying the product. It's also on how to sell it, how to list the product, how to ship it to Amazon, and how to figure out all the other stuff. But the best way to learn is to learn while you are doing it, and that's worse than any college education you can get. So
Oh, I love that. And you're right. I hear that a lot, especially in my AI prompting group. I get people all the time going, how do I use AI to make money? And it's, you still need to work. And a lot of these
yeah,
people are
yeah,
in
yeah.
that concept that I can enter a prompt and I can play video games and make money. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't
I
work that way.
love though what you did from a bootstrapping perspective though, because what a great opportunity to arbitrage those values and to be able to identify and make money. Imagine being able to take that $1,000 and some time that you put in, which of course doesn't cost you anything at that point, and turn that into $5,000 or $10,000 that now you could use to do either that again. Because
Yes,
now again, if you, let's say you made 10 grand and now you do that again, the next time you make 100 grand. And you really could grow that into an amazing business just on its own, let alone as a great way to bootstrap and fund a startup. I love that. And I'm so in love with the hustle part. I agree. You've got to be willing to hustle. Nothing comes easy in life. You've got to hustle. The overnight success stories that we've both seen of businesses that they go, wow, you made it overnight. And you're like, yeah, you didn't know what we've done for the last 12 years in order to build to this
exactly.
point to become an overnight success. So yeah, I love that. That's great. That's great. Jason, as we bring the plane in for a landing here, question for you. What advice would you give for any toy manufacturer that's out there that wants to get launched on Amazon, maybe has a lot of questions? How do they get in touch with you and what might they expect in that initial conversation with you?
So I do a lot of free resources and free training for the toy industry. First of all, I also run a podcast called Toy Business Unboxed. So feel free to listen to my podcast. And I also do monthly webinar on different digital marketing strategy that work well for the industry. They can also find that on toys-launch.com with all the free training that we provided. And if they want to jump on the call, I have a calendar link that is on the homepage if they want to jump on the call. But I know about giving value first. So feel free to watch all the free training, watch all the podcasts, and do it yourself if you want to. And you don't have to hire us. And this is like when I started, I learned everything myself. I didn't hire anyone,
Sure.
but I spent like a couple of years learning all that myself. So it's either, so this is back to the conversation is, do you have more money or do you have more time? If you have more time, learn everything yourself and try to do everything yourself. But if you have the money and you don't have the time, then you invest working with someone like us that have been doing this since 2016. And with all this experience, will catapult your success and really shortcut the learning curve. So that's the trade. So is do you want do you have more time or do you have more money? And if you and I have all the free resources that you need to be successful on Amazon, but you just need to learn it, do the dirty work, and do it yourself if that's the route you want to choose.
Great advice. We'll put those links here in the show notes as well as on the podcast so people can see those and get those added in. I want to encourage you, if you are in the toy industry or the board game industry and you're looking to figure out how to take advantage of that Amazon marketplace and the huge value that can bring, reach out. Talk to Jason and his team. You guys are going to be amazed. I've got to know them really well over the last number of months, and I'm just so impressed with their level of knowledge and expertise and professionalism. Jason demonstrated some of that today, but there's so much more underneath what we talked about today. So, Jason, thank you so much for your time today. So grateful to have you join us. I know you're incredibly busy with things, and I want to encourage you, if you have any interest, reach out, talk to Jason, check out his podcast, his resources. You'll see links down in the show notes. We want to encourage you to do that. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We welcome you. We're so thankful. We would appreciate your feedback as well. We love your thumbs up. We love to hear your ratings, and we certainly would love it if you'd subscribe to the 91 Day Success Podcast. With that, make it a great day, everybody, and we'll see you on the other side.